In a previous video, I discussed the niche RPG market as well as the concept of power fantasy and how it's pretty much something here to stay, unfortunately. In a video I titled Mass Market Appeal. I recommend going back to that, checking the video description if you need catching up before you watch this video, but in that video I compared all the main titled Elder Scrolls games and showed why the Dovahkiin was power fantasy and the others weren't. To which 1,000 Morrowind fanboys rightly said that was shit, you know, the Dovahkiin. And the thing is that they're right. And the sad thing is that it didn't have to be shit. Theoretically, let's say, okay, we've established a universe in which you've played a ton of normies to become this awesome character later on. You start out as a peasant, a nobody, someone of obscure origins, and somehow you are going to rise up and become a hero. That's pretty much the way the Elder Scrolls works. The thing is that now in Skyrim we've created a character that can be awesome right from the start. That's the idea anyway, to make the gameplay awesome, make you feel awesome as the player, to make you feel awesome. Defy all the existing knowledge about how the universe works and pull a Star Destroyer down with your mind. That's power fantasy. That's the Dragonborn. But as I said earlier, I agree with the Morrowind fanboys who say it's shit. Why is the Dragonborn shit though? Well, it's because Bethesda Game Studios didn't commit to the premise. They inserted the premise meekly into the world. A world designed for him, but containing him. Eating dragon souls to make my tummy happy. Embracing power fantasy fully means that you need two sets of responses for NPCs. Basically, are you going to play your Dovahkiin card? And you're always going to have that card with you, assuming you've gotten that far in the main quest. It doesn't go away. It would be more work for voice actors and developers, but regardless, it was something that was needed to make Skyrim truly great. Only once in the game is it truly acknowledged at all outside of the main quest. At the College of Winterhold, you could forego her quest, the test she has for you, to summon an Atronach or cast a light spell or use Calm, and just say, actually, I'm the Dragonborn, and shout for her, at which point she will go, oh, well, it appears the college has what you seek, which is exactly what she would say no matter what other part of the test you did. In other words, she just spouts the same generic line, and you being the Dragonborn is never brought up again. And I respect the if you didn't want to call into attention the fact that you were Dragonborn, you just wanted to be a normal person, you could do that. And that's a fairly important thing for the Elder Scrolls, I feel, is to give you the freedom of choice, player choice, where you can choose to just play it low-key. Like, yeah, I'll cast your light spell or whatever, but then the other way around is, you know that test? I just used my thumb! Holy crap. At no point later on in the entire quest line does it respect the fact that you did that. Does it acknowledge the fact that, holy crap, we have the Dragonborn here in our college. We need to treat him a bit differently, or at least ponder this for a moment. No. It was thrown in as an afterthought. Actually, I'm the Dragonborn. And it's the only time in the game when it actually matters. It's never brought up again. I mean, can you imagine if instead of everyone treating you like dirtbag McShit apprentice, instead you were escorted into the Hall of the Elements. You weren't just told to go there, you were escorted, and they'd interrupt the class and say, this is the Dragonborn, or this one has the Thum, or some other well-crafted introduction. He'll be joining your class, Tolftir. I suggest you set your expectations high. Perhaps some of the irrational things they made you do in the college, like, for example, going to fight Draugr to find the Eye of Magnus, that's something an apprentice would be told, no, you aren't up for this. Whereas the Dragonborn, yes, you can handle this for us, please. Perhaps a regular day one apprentice wouldn't be in Sarthal at all, and would have to do a bunch of small tasks to get up to that point. Whereas the Dragonborn would be fast-tracked through it. I actually did a different video talking about main quests briefly, and the fact of the matter is that in other games, the main quest is the game itself, whereas in Bethesda games, specifically the Elder Scrolls and Fallout games, the main quest is fluff content, and the world itself is the main reason people stay in the game. The problem is in the other games, the average Joe isn't expected to know or care about the things you've done. Only people in key positions are supposed to know, because most of the stuff you do in those Elder Scrolls games is covert, secret. You're an agent of the Blades, twice, by the way, once in Daggerfall, once in Morrowind. Only later did you earn fame. And even then, only the major people in the temple were supposed to know about it. In Oblivion, if you weren't part of Martin Septim's personal entourage, the Blades, then no one knew what you were doing to shut the gates. Yeah, maybe one of the counts knew, but did he spread it to the world? Probably not. The point is, every other Elder Scrolls game really downplayed your presence, and this was done in order to keep the NPCs, the massive quest givers everywhere across the world, fairly well neutral to you because they don't know who you are. Well, in this, you are the Dragonborn, and you're given a special power to denote you being the Dragonborn right off the bat. You're given the ability to shout, something every single Nord in Skyrim knows about. You're a person of legends. Every freaking tavern has a wench that's singing about how the Dragonborn comes, as if they had some kind of personal experience with you or something. But seriously, there's multiple ways you could play the game. You could play the game before you've done any of the quests to make the dragons show up. You could basically play the non-Dovahkiin game for a couple hundred hours before starting the main quest, at which point you would have no dialogue options for the Dovahkiin. Of course, then at those points you'd be like, psh, the Dovahkiin's just a legend. The second way, of course, is the way Skyrim has intended you to play, the vanilla game, is where you're the Dragonborn, but you downplay it. Every time you get into a dialogue option, you don't pick the Dovahkiin option, and then more or less you are just normal average McJoe. You're just doing normal things, normal quests for people, and you aren't playing up the fact that you are this legendary figure. But the thing is that what vanilla Skyrim never gave you the option to do, other than once or twice, was to pick the Dovahkiin option, to play power fantasy as it was embraced. The idea that, yes, I'm the Dovahkiin, damn it, let me through right now. No, you're not going to pull that bullshit, I'm the Dovahkiin. Fus Roda! You see what I'm saying? The game never gives you that option, despite granting you this power fantasy. It then reneges on it everywhere other than the main quest. And that's stupid. What if I wanted to say, I don't need your wolf blood companions, I'm the Dragonborn? Instead of getting pigeonholed into taking in the beast blood gift, you can just literally show them, you know, that you are the legendary hero, that you absorb dragons and take their souls. I was doing a live stream of Dawnguard not too far back, where we were talking to Serana's mom, Valerica, in the Soul Cairn. By the way, if you play Elder Scrolls Legend Battlespire, if you want to talk to the Ideal Masters, they really blew the Soul Cairn and the potential it had in Skyrim. Anyway, Valerica scoffs at my whole, why don't you just kill Harkon idea, and says, I have no idea how powerful he is. You know, as far as I saw, Harkon was just an ugly bat beast. You know, I could probably shoot him with a few crossbow bolts combined with a couple fire breaths and make him quite dead. But again, what I wanted to say to Valerica is, who am I, Valerica? I'm the fucking Dragonborn. I absorb the souls of dragons. Now stop talking to me as if I were a mere mortal. We're going to go, we're going to kill Harkon, and that's that. But no, you see, the game doesn't respect the fact that you have this massive amount of power and that you've demonstrated multiple times that you've had this massive amount of power. Maybe by this point in the game, you've killed Alduin. You've killed the World Eater. Let me ask you something, Valerica. Is Harkon stronger than the World Eater, the one prophesied to end the world? I don't think so. And I killed him! You see what I'm getting at is, ultimately, the game again and again and again pigeonholes you into these single routes without ever respecting the fact that you are this legendary hero. And that's dumb. That's all kinds of dumb. Either they don't make you the legendary hero and they create a legend from your actions, like in every other Elder Scrolls game, or they respect that you are the legendary hero and they let you take actions and choices based on that. But they don't. Middle of the road mediocrity. You are given the path of the ordinary average Joe despite being this legendary figure. They pay lip service to it, meaning the power fantasy is half-assed. I mean, yes, guards will momentarily go, "The Thuum! He summons the Thuum!" Or, "The power of old! It's the Dragonborn!" But when you shout in town, but they will immediately go back to not giving a shit again. NPCs who see you shout should probably treat you a little bit differently, because aside from Ulfric Stormcloak, who learned the Thuum from the Greybeards, who, he's kind of a legend in his circles, isn't he, should probably be given a little more esteem. There should probably be a bias based on the individual NPCs, an NPC by NPC bias. Nord should either automatically revere you or want to challenge you. Foreigners should probably fear you, want to stay away from you, but it should be a character defining trait where, based on realizing that you're the Dragonborn, they should do X. And each character would have a slightly different reaction, or many of the characters have the same reaction. It doesn't matter. The point is they react. It's like in Grand Theft Auto, if you just suddenly start shooting around in the middle of the freaking town, everyone gets the hell away from you. They run the hell away because they're respecting your power as the player. Skyrim doesn't do that. Now, that's both a blessing and a curse, but let's break it down to steps if we really wanted to make Skyrim a power fantasy game. Number 1, acknowledge the player's Thuum when the player uses it in more situations. Number 2, NPCs remember when the player has used their Thuum. Number 3, allow the player to assert their claim as the Dragonborn in most situations. Don't force the player to assert their claim, because then you've chosen for the player, again, just like you have in the vanilla game. Instead, give the player freedom of choice. That's what the players have wanted from the beginning, is the freedom of choice. Next, adjust shouts to where their cooldown isn't a hard cooldown, but rather adjust its effectiveness. Meaning, you can do back-to-back shouts at greatly reduced power, or you can wait the cooldown to have the shout at full power. Step 5, tie Thuums into the Speechcraft skill, or create a brand new Thuum skill, so that you can make the core of your Dragonborn character progress, instead of making it like a tacked-on tree to your character. This tacked-on little, oh look, you learned a shout. It's a special power that you can kind of do, but you don't need. There's no progression built into it other than killing dragons to unlock shouts, of which you will, by the end of an average adventure in Skyrim, have, about 30 extra dragon souls than you can use. Yeah, that happens. The last and final step here is to make eating dragon souls awesome. In a power fantasy, instead of having dragons automatically decay and get absorbed, let's throw away the dragon lore that Skyrim's based on, and let's take us back to the first dragon fight at the beginning of Skyrim. Remember when you were told by the Jarl, a dragon is attacking the watchtower in Whiterun, we gotta deal with him? Remember that? Well, the guards there could totally kill the dragon. You didn't actually have to do anything. You could just walk up to it and absorb the soul after it was dead. Now, the guards cannot kill the dragon. They can get the health bar all the way down, but then it'll land and do some shout and heal. While the dragon is on the ground, the player, if they get up to it, or they have it in their sights, they'll be prompted to perform a kill move on the dragon. Hit X to execute the kill move when the dragon's at low health. Yes, it's like a quick time event. Remember when the dragon shouted, "Dovahkiin? No!" as he died in regular Skyrim? Screw that. Let's assume he had no death call at all. The dragon's dead, right? Just a corpse, right? Dramatic music changes as the dragon isn't dead. He rears up and gets ready to attack you, screaming, "Dovahkiin, no!" At which point, the game would pause. It would prompt you to focus on the dragon by hitting X or whatever button. So you'd hit the focus button, at which point you'd devour the soul. Instead of being some passive metaphysical mumbo-jumbo that made you the kind of Mary Sue Make it an active mechanic of the player. Press X to rip the skin off a dragon and absorb its soul, leaving it a lifeless skeleton. There's brand new lore. These dragons are immortal. They're fragments of a god. They don't truly die. And with Alduin calling to them, they're constantly returning to life. But you the Dovahkiin, can rip their soul out of them. It's not some, oh, I was standing near them when a guard killed it. No. Power fantasy. Press X to tear soul from body. That's proper power fantasy, and it's awesome. Makes you feel awesome, not half-assed. Skyrim is a decent Elder Scrolls game, but ultimately, the concept of making you the central figure right off the bat, and then suddenly not making it revolve around you, it's half-assed. So what I'm saying is, they could commit to the power fantasy. That said, committing to power fantasy means radically changing the tone and feel of your game. I'd still argue that the Elder Scrolls is better without power fantasy. Back in Elder Scrolls 1, 2, 3, and even Oblivion, where you started as a person from obscure origins and worked your way up to greatness, instead of having this exalted legendary position just thrust upon you in the beginning, and then wiggled in front of your face like 3 or 4 times during the main quest in a half-assed sort of way, whilst not ever being able to actually get people to respect you for it. If you want to argue that Morrowind was a power fantasy because your Lord Nerevar reborn, shut up and watch my mass market appeal video. Link in the video description. Spoilers, it's not. If I could choose, if I had the choice, I would have left out the Dovahkiin entirely from the game, or revealed it as a late game consequence of your actions. Say when you access the time scar at the throat of the world, that would have been a perfect time to reveal it. Not just at the very beginning of the game when a Whiterun guard kills the dragon for you and then you walk up to its corpse. That's lame. The Elder Scrolls is mostly about environment, exploring, interacting, and living in this fantasy world. Skyrim gave you this amazing title right off the bat, and then promptly forgot they gave it to you, except in key sections of the main quest. So everywhere else in the game, you're just average McJerkface. The shout mechanics are just a tacked-on system that could have easily just been powers in Morrowind or Oblivion. The Elder Scrolls, quite frankly, is best without any of this. It's a real shame they decided to use these ideas without committing to it. They tried to strike a balance and failed. In a future video, I'm going to go over my favorite power fantasy games and explain what was so great about them and how I found them truly enjoyable when the power fantasy concept is executed properly. But until then, this has been Zarek Zahakran. Check the social media links for more content, and I will see y'all next time.
In specially created exoframes, they can be transported anywhere to fuse with incredible assault weapon systems, being down from the space station Skyvault, becoming man and machine power extreme.